Welcome back. It's Wednesday. It's the Kovacs report. And that means more comic book reviews. And we're going to kick off with the Amazing Spider-Man, giant size Amazing Spider-Man. In fact, one of 5 giant size books that are popping out over the next few weeks and months to celebrate the 50th anniversary of giant size X-Men. Now, that one's already popped out. Check out my video if you've not already checked it out and let me know what you think. But this is the next installment. So, big names: Kevin Smith, Al Ewing, Chip Zdarsky. Lots of big names there. Let's see what we got. I'm going to go through the book page by page, by the way. So if you've not read the book, you don't want it spoiled, go read the book first and come back and you can find out what I thought of it. Now, before I do that, hit the subscribe button. It makes a huge difference to the channel. Honestly, it really, really does. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, if you like the video, give it a like at the end. Let's dive straight in. So we get our first story. Okay, and the art's okay. The art's pretty nice. But this one is Spidey is fighting Mysterio out in the park somewhere. And he snatches off his little Mysterio magic, what do you call it? This sort of like hallucination generating Mysterio gadget off his arm and uses it against him. And Sinister 69. Now, if you thought 69 being in there just happened to be the number, then you thought right, because this book, or rather this first story, is just one bad gag after another. It's pure Kevin Smith, but in that droll, absurd way that Kevin Smith tends to be nowadays. It's arse jokes and penis jokes all the way through. Honestly, guys, I'm disappointed beyond any and all expectations. The dialogue is cheesy as hell. So basically this whole story, and I'm not kidding, this whole story revolves around this. During this fight with Mysterio, Spider-Man's trousers, his pants, his suit and his butt get torn, and he needs to find a way of stopping this from happening. So he decides to go to the Fantastic Four. Now, this is full of, like I say, really cheesy humor, butt jokes, penis jokes, and it's just boring. Honestly, he goes to Doctor Strange, more jokes, and Doctor Strange says, well, I can't fix this with magic. Go see Reed Rich of the Fantastic Four. He'll be able to help you out. And that's exactly what he does. And he turns up. There just so happens to be a fight going on there. You know, oh, God. Psycho Man's there, and he's messed with Sue's mind, and they're all fighting each other. And again, he does what he did in the beginning. He throws a web and whips the device that the villain is using and turns it against them. And then that's all done and dusted. And he's like, hey, can you help me out with my butt showing? So what he does is he makes him a suit from unstable molecules, which are the same materials used in the Fantastic Four's costumes. So, you know, stretchy, fire resistant. They're just all round better. And that's basically the story. It's just one big butt penis joke all the way through. So that's how it started. Let's see where it ends. So we get the next story from Al Ewing called 616 Day. And it's done in this nice sort of Kirby-esque throwback. Even Peter Parker looks very much like early Spider-Man, which is quite nice. The art's really nice in this. Let's see. So it's Mark Buckingham, of course. And Mark Buckingham never disappoints. So basically, it's 616 Day in this story. So, and it's 6:16 a.m. Spidey wakes up, his senses tingling, and he goes to investigate. And he finds a building with 616 in it, and he meets this magic dude which you would have known from the Gods miniseries. Well, you would have known if you've read it, because it's another one of those event series that no one really read, much like One World Under Doom. Anyway, he talks him through what's going on, and he explains how the multiple universes work and the multiple realities work. And he shows him the original Human Torch laboratory where the Human Torch was created and birthed essentially the Marvel Universe. Now, while that's happening, there's a tear in the time, or a tear in whatever, which I don't know what to call it, sort of reality. And this beast, this tentacled beast, comes out and starts fighting them. And what it does is it pulls out moments of Marvel history, and it shows Spider-Man all these impossible times that you've never seen before. And he's like, wow, this is really cool, you know. And it's like, again, the dialogue's not great, but there's lots of monologuing throughout this. And essentially what happens, Spider-Man realizes that he doesn't need the power of the torch. He doesn't need Thor's hammer. He doesn't need Captain America's shield or the Hulk's strength. He just needs to use what he's got, which is his webs. He webs these people out of these time holes, these other sort of universes, these other Marvel universes, and they all gang up and fight this beast, sending him packing, and then time returns back to normal. and happy 616 day. So it's a throwaway story. Chip Zdarsky's story, however, with CAFU, the artist CAFU, is probably the best story in the book, actually. It's not bad. I actually really enjoyed this. So if you do pick this up, you're picking up for this story. So we're introduced to this dude. I think his name's Roger. Is it Roger? Anyway, well, that's part of the problem is like you don't even remember some of these names because these stories aren't that memorable. It's a very throwaway book. I'm sorry to report. Excuse me. But either way, this guy's father is a scientist. They're a bit estranged from each other. He feels like his father hasn't been there when he needs him, and he's done everything he can. It's not working out. And then shortly after, we see this explosion, which is almost frozen in time in this sphere above the lab that his father was working at. So Spidey goes to investigate, and he notices someone in there walking around. This explosion is contained within this bubble as such. It's almost like it's frozen in time. And I keep saying that because that's exactly kind of what's happened. So what's happened is this device that they were experimenting with was supposed to slow time down. Okay. And what it's done is been activated, and this explosion's gone out, and it's frozen in time. So time is passing just very, very slowly. So Spidey has to sort of race against time to figure out how to solve this problem. Let me get some backstory about there's the son of the scientist, and he's rushing off to help his dad because his dad's called him and said, we're in trouble. Like, this is how it led up to the explosion. And what's happened is some of these bad guys who are funding this project, this nefarious company, they've decided that this has quite interesting military applications, and they're demanding that he hands over the serum that he's created to slow down time so they can use it. Now, father and his assistant, his partner Dana, they're like, no, we're not giving this over, and all hell's broken loose. And Electro turns up. So Electro's turned up, okay, and he's tried to zap them all, and the son's turned up just in time to help out. And while that's happening, Electro blasts him and the serum, or I guess it's the serum, and that combined has created this explosion, and it's slowed down by the fact this serum is like in the atmosphere as such. We also learn that the son has been using this, okay, to try and save his dad. So this explosion's happened, everything's gone balmy, and he's slowed down time. Now, he can slow down time in a certain area. It's not everywhere. He can slow down time in one area and go off and do other things. So what he's been doing is he's been stealing equipment and bringing it back to this makeshift lab to his father's partner to try and save him, because he's actually dying from cancer. So they're slowing down the cancer. That's essentially what's been going on. So enter Spider-Man, and enter this new, I guess, hero that it might introduce to other stories. And he's got to figure out a way of stopping this explosion and getting them all out. And that's basically what happens. They figure out a way of stopping the explosion from causing any major damage by getting Iron Man in. Iron Man's going to turn up in a second and help save the day. The Electro is released from this time freeze for a split second, that Spidey can pull out some shrapnel that's in his heart so they can save him. And this is where we learn that this guy's actually a true hero. So he could have let the villain die, but he didn't. He's not just saving everyone from the explosion, he's also trying to save Electro's life at the same time. And Spider-Man and Tony Stark find this very admirable, so they like this guy. It's a new friend. So later on we find that Tony Stark, now he knows the whole story, he's going to set them up with a new lab so that they can try and help perfect this serum, save his father, or slow down the cancer till they can. And also sort of said, listen, might as well be a superhero now. But he's like, no, I just want to go back to my own life. This isn't for me. But they're saying, well, you did all this, great power and responsibility. This isn't the last we've seen of you. So Tony Stark gives him a business card just in case. And that's the third story. So this next thing is basically a prelude to another book. So this is a prelude to Kid Venom, basically. So you just get a few pages of Spider-Verse team ups. Not even worth mentioning, to be honest. But that's the book. 3 stories, one worth reading. The other 2 are just barely passable, really. And I'm really disappointed in Kevin Smith's story. But then again, what did I expect? It's just one big dick joke, right? But anyway, those are my thoughts. Certainly let me know yours. And hopefully I will catch you in the next one. Until then, take care.